Hello and welcome to my channel, Crafting with Shuttermonkey. I'm Amanda, also known as Shuttermonkey, and this is episode 26. Today is Thursday the 25th of May and it's been about 3 weeks since I last recorded. It feels like a lot longer, there is so much has happened since then. But the most important news is baby's here. She's safe and well and her and mum are doing well, settling in at home. And she's just lovely. She arrived on Star Wars Day, which is the 4th of May. Mum did wonder whether to give her a Star Wars themed name, but her name is Amara. It's A-M-A-R-A, and it's just lovely. She suits it as well. Our shawl has been used quite a bit. Every time I've been round, the pink shawl is in use, and it's actually nice to see the baby, and it's nice to see the shawl being used as well. It seems to be settling in well, all going well, settling in well as a wee family of 5. So I saw her last night and that was the first time I've seen her and she was really awake, but she was kind of sitting up, getting burped, sitting up, kind of looking about, taking everything in. Look, just quite nice to see her kind of with her eyes open and looking about and watching her big brothers as well. That was lovely. What else has been happening? Vet trips. I feel like I'm never away for the vet just now. My daughter has a wee hedgehog and he's had a wee bit of a sore mouth, so he had to get 16 teeth removed. He's only got 11 teeth left, the wee soul, and on the one side he got a lot of teeth removed on the one side, and it got infected a couple of weeks after he got them all out, and I think it's gone up into his eye because he's now got an ulcer in his eye. So he's into lots of antibiotics just now to help clear up the infection in the mouth and the infection in his eye, the ulcer in his eye. But oh, he's such a lovely wee thing, and you wouldn't even know he was ill. He's just such a happy-go-lucky wee chap. So he is. My daughter's vet's in Glasgow, so it's quite a few trips up and down from the southwest coast, just back and forth to Glasgow to take our wee hedgehog to the vet. And then my own cat she's had a lump in her nose. So she had to go and get that taken out, and it turns out it's a tumour. It's benign, but we think she's got another one growing. It was just here, down the side of her nose, that got removed, but the results come back, the biopsy results come back, and it was a tumour. It is benign, but she has another one, we think, growing now, just under her eye at the side here. The type of tumours that she's got, they commonly come back, but right now, fingers crossed they stay benign, and they don't turn into anything more sinister. She is 13 now, but here's hoping that she stays okay for the foreseeable future. And then there was also Ayr County Show in the diary. Ayr County Show is quite a big event in the Ayrshire diary. It's an agricultural show, so there's lots of events happening there. There's animals there's animal showing and animal competitions, there's horse jumping. There's different events going on with the young farmers as well. There's loads of stalls, just loads going on over the course of the day. And the SWI normally have an area in the craft tent where there's lots of makers there selling their wares, but we usually get a space in that tent that we can run some competitions, some handcrafts and some baking foursomes. So there was a lot of work, and because I'm now the handcrafts convener, there was a wee bit of work over 2 days, because we set everything up on the Friday and all the ladies from the SWI, all the different institutes bring in their foursomes entries and their other competition entries, set them up. They're all judged on the Friday, ready for the show opening on the Saturday. But it was a busy couple of days, but it was good. It was good. A good experience to join in with. I'm really sorry if you can hear a dog barking. It's my next door neighbour's dog. That's the dog next door. She's lovely. She's really, really nice. And she's always happy to see me. So if her barking's bothering you, I'm really sorry, but she is a lovely wee soul. She doesn't usually, she'll be outside in the garden playing because it's a really nice day out there today. Shall we move on to the crafty content that I have to show you today, now that I've updated you on everything that's been happening? Oh, right. I'm going to start with the knitting designs again. And you've seen these 2 socks before, so I won't talk about them much, okay? Green apple sock pattern. This has finished been tested and all the test knitters have done a wonderful job. I think this is the first test knit that I have run that everybody's completed the sock. And that's no criticism of anybody, by the way, if you're watching this and you've tried to take part in one of my test knits and you couldn't complete it. Life just gets in the way sometimes, and it's to be expected. Sometimes people just have to pull out. You think you've got time to do something and then life gets in the way and it can't be helped. But this is the first time everybody's managed to complete their sock. So this is going to be published on Ravelry tomorrow. So by the time you see this video, because this is Thursday, and hopefully you're going to see this Friday, Saturday, it takes me a wee while to edit videos. I've got asthma and I do cough quite a lot. And I try to cut all the coughing out. So if I've got a frog in my throat or if I start coughing, I try to cut all that out. If I've got to clear my throat for that throat, I just cut all that out so you don't see it. Especially if you were wearing headphones and I was coughing. It wouldn't be very nice, would it? So it does take me a wee while to edit things and cut everything out and stick it all back together. That's why sometimes if I'm holding up a sock and all of a sudden the sock jumps to there, that's why I've cut out a cough and they'll put the sock back up in the same place. Anyway, as I say, sidetracking. This is going to be published on Friday, the 26th of May, and it will be there on Ravelry, and I'll link it in with the doddle sock. So if you've already got the doddle sock pattern, you'll get this at a discounted price, okay? But this is the first one in a collection of 6 socks, and they're all named after candy, cotton candy, and thanks to Nancy again for that. And this one is the green apple sock, okay? So that will be on Ravelry, Friday the 26th of May. I nearly said July there, definitely May. Now this one caused me a wee bit of bother because I was going to call this the pink vanilla sock. And I had the pattern all finished, it was all finalised, ready for testing. I had my test knitting sheets done, I had the pattern onto Ravelry so that testers could link to it. And then I realised as I was actually creating my own project page that I've called it the pink vanilla sock, and you put the name in and Ravelry will offer you suggestions to link to the pattern. And it came up with all these different vanilla socks. And I thought, it wasn't until that point that I thought, I can't call this pink vanilla sock because vanilla sock actually means something to sock knitters, doesn't it? So I had to change the name of it. So I've called it the pink bubblegum sock. And just with everything that's been happening over the past couple of weeks, I did put out a request for test knitters for this last time. It took me a wee while to get the form up, to link the form below in the description box. Just wait, I had the 3 boys. It felt like 3 boys. I had the 2 boys for 3 days while mum was away and having the baby. So they spent 3 days with me, and it took me a wee while to get anything done. Even just publishing my last video, because I was trying to publish that and get it all edited and the description in the bottom before I could hit publish on YouTube, and then getting the links later on below, and it just took me a wee while. It took me a wee while to recover. Having 2 boys for 3 days was a lot of work. Anyway, it was a lot of work, but I did really enjoy it. So the test knit for this is going to go ahead now, but it's not going to be the pink vanilla sock. It is going to be the pink bubblegum sock, okay? Because vanilla sock means something else. I will link that down below. The test knit starts on the 12th of June, and it's going to run from the 12th of June to the 26th of June. So it's a 2-week test knit. And it's just a shorty sock. It's a double knit and weight sock, and it's knit on 3.25mm needles. Now this sock here, the great thing about that is the pattern, when I write up the patterns, I describe it all using double pointed needles, okay? Because that's how I knit. And if you're a beginner and you're just coming along to knit your first sock, you're trying to use double pointed needles, I try to put as much explanation in as possible. But a few of the test knitters who were quite new to sock knitting as well, or maybe just new to knitting double knitting socks, they tried it with magic loop and also with small circulars, and they all said it was fine. They all said they managed perfectly well, even though it was laid out for double pointed needles. They just put the markers in where I suggested you put markers in, and it was all okay. Link will be below. This time it really will be below, and if you want to test knit this one between the 12th of June and the 26th of June, you can let me know, okay? Right, that's all I've got to say about sock designs, even though I said it wasn't going to take me long. I've managed to rabbit on, I think, for probably 5 minutes. Dearie me. You can see how this is going to be today. I really don't have a lot to show you today, but it's probably going to take me 40 minutes to get through it all if I keep sidetracking, won't it? Right, let's move on to the knitting section. Let me get my jumper. I haven't finished the Advent jumper, the rainbow jumper. I've got, the sleeves are finished and it's all blocking. So, there we go. I soaked it all and I didn't soak it until yesterday. Don't ask me why, but everything is just taking me such a long time just now. I feel like I'm working on things and I just need to finish it. And I'm putting it aside and thinking about it. And the next thing, a week and a half has passed. But I did finish the sleeves. And this is the back piece. And the other pieces are all pinned out and I've got them sitting downstairs. I've actually got them just sitting on like a camp bed, a spare bed that I've got a wheel out if we need it for anybody coming over to stay. It's not even got the mattress on, it's just the bed, the fold up bed. I've unfolded it and put all my boards on it to let them dry downstairs. But it looks lovely, doesn't it? And all that worrying that I did about the sleeves, because I put some of the yarn in from the 100-gram sock skein, and I don't know what I was worrying about. When you see it all sitting together, blocking, it's lovely. Although the only thing that is giving me slight concerns right now is all those ends. I'm going to have to weave in all those ends. Oh. And both of the jumper pieces, the front piece has got that as well. And the sleeves are both like that. I wonder how much I can procrastinate over that and how long it will take me to finish, eh? I really need to get it done. My daughter's moving out. She's moving out next weekend. She's moving to Glasgow. Going to be an empty nester after next weekend. So I should really try and get her jumper finished so she can take it when she leaves home. Not that it matters. She's not going that far. I can drop it off to her. But the big move, that'll be happening next weekend. I wasn't prepared for this one. It's quite quick. Just from her deciding that, oh, look, I've got the opportunity to have somewhere of my own. And off she goes. But I did have to break in. I kept those two wee mini skeins. I kept those aside for the collar. But I did have to use a wee bit of that to finish the sleeves. But I've still got this to do the collar. And it's a longer length collar and then it folds back in itself. And you stitch it down on the inside. It'll just not be double if I don't have enough yarn. But we'll worry about that bit when we get to it, eh? Right, and I've finished, remember the wee box that I had that was all full of nice coloured yarn? It's empty, look at that. Tiny, tiny, tiny wee oddments left. Once I'm finished the sewing up, I will get rid of these wee bits because the length of them that's there, there's not really much there, but I'll keep it in case I need some decent lengths of yarn for when to match stitch the pieces together. But after that, I'll know, I don't think there'll be much use for them. Maybe that tiny wee bit in there. I can maybe put this into something. That was wee lengths that I cut off because I had done my shaping wrong in the back. But I find some use for that. But the rest of them I don't think I'll need after I'm finished sewing. So that's the jumper, and next time, fingers crossed, next time I'll have it sewn together, and even if it's sewn together and I'm working in the collar, I'll be able to show you again once it's more looking like a jumper rather than in bits. And the only other thing that I have been working on knit-wise is my triangulum blanket. I haven't even finished April yet. But while I've been quite busy and rushing about, I've only worked on the jumper or worked on this. Cake. But I've just got this little bit here to finish off over on this side. That wee hole there. I just have two triangles. Two more triangles to put in here to finish joining, to finish this hexagon here. But as I knit the final two triangles, you have to pick stitches up around the edge and you knit it in place. So there's no really any sewing up. You just have to weave in all those ends as you go. But I have been weaving in the ends, so there's no ends on the back. They've all been woven in. I've stitched them all in. The only ends that I have are round the outside. So I am trying to keep on top of the sewing the ends in, because it's a big job if you leave it all to the end. But I love those two there. Those two there together. See that turquoisey blue and that pink? I just love them together. I can't believe how much I love this blanket. I can't believe how much I'm loving working on it. It's because it's just the same thing over and over again. It's 6 wee triangles you have to knit to make every hexagon. And I don't know if it's just the change of colour. I don't know if it's because I've got so much going on just now, and just everything that's going on with new babies, my daughter moving out, trips to the vet, and it's just quite therapeutic actually. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Because I'm quite behind with it. And it's not even bothering me. I might even, over the course of the next month, I think I might just work on this and just try and get caught up and no start anything new. Get that jumper finished and just work on this. Because it's just lovely to work on. And the next bundle that I'm moving on to, I'll try and get this started before the end of the month. This is the May bundle. So let me see if I can spread them all out so you can see them. But this is the birthstone for May. And this is the emerald colourways. I've not got much more to do in the April colourways. I've only got 5 triangles. I think a triangle takes me about 50 minutes. And from the grey, most of that grey one there, the grey one, the multicoloured, the grey and that one here, and then the pink one, and then this one here. I've worked on all of those over the course of a week. You just sit down in the evening when you've got time, and it's just quite nice to keep your hands busy actually. And sometimes when it's a repetitive project like that and you're doing the same thing over and over, other times I find that quite boring, but then I think times like just now when everything's quite stressful, it's not even that stressful. It's just, see when you've got a lot on, that's what I mean. It's quite nice just to have something repetitive, and it keeps my hands busy. And I think that's more important because I fidget when my hands aren't busy. So that is the colours that I'm moving on to next. That is the May colourways. They're really pretty, aren't they? And all of these colours are by Biff Sugar Yarns. It was our Birthstone Collection, and it was a club that was running last year. Now I think this dyer has another club this year. It's flowers, and I know January was Snowflake, and I think she had Pansy one month. If it's something that you like doing, you could collect it up over the year, turn it into a scrappy blanket. But I'm really enjoying working on this, even though I'm a wee bit behind again. I always end up falling behind, don't I? Right, there we go. While I'm on the knitting section, I just want to show you something that I purchased while I was down at Ayr County Show, sorry. I did buy some yarn while I was there. Now this is by a yarn dyer called Midge Porter Designs, and I'll pop a wee link below. This one here is called Pink Fizz, and this is sock weight, and it is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, and I just thought that was lovely. It's really, really pretty. And I was determined I wasn't going to buy any yarn, but I was sitting in that SWI stall for 2 days, and this yarn dyer was right across from me. It was kind of mean putting her there, wasn't it? So the last day, I nearly made it out of there. The last day, it was about 4 o'clock. No, it wasn't, it was about 3 o'clock, and we were to be out for 4. I finally caved and went over and had a look at 3 o'clock. So this yarn dyer is based in New Galloway. That's in the southwest of Ayrshire, so she's not actually that far from me. She has a wee Etsy shop, which I will link to below, and she had lots of nice bags and kits as well. knitting kits, some embroidery kits and things like that. So this one is sock weight, and that's Pink Fizz, and that was actually down to, it'd been reduced down to £12 at the show. It's lovely, isn't it? And then these two are both the same. These are Aurora, and these are on, it's a 75-25 again, but this is double knitting weight. And I've got a plan for these later on in the year. I know what I'm going to do with this one. The other one will be socks at some point. But I just thought that was lovely. It's the greens and the pinks together. It's just so pretty. Anyway, I thought I would link that. Oh, look how well that goes with those. Just when I see them sitting on the table together. They're quite nice together, aren't they? I just thought I would share those yarns while I had them still sitting on my table before they get put away into the stash with all the other stuff. Let's move on to the crochet section, and I have only got one thing to show you on this. The last time that I videoed, I showed you this pattern here from Simply Crochet. I nearly said Simply Knitting. Simply Crochet. This is quite an older issue of the magazine. I found this on eBay after I saw it on YouTube. Gemma from the Offcuts podcast shared it maybe about a year or so ago, a wee bit more. She doesn't have her YouTube channel anymore, so I can't even link to it to show you. But I really like that. It's called A Good Vintage Cardigan, and I will link it below if it's something that you're interested in. See if I can actually find a bigger picture rather than just the front cover, eh? There we go. And I made a start on it. So I am using, I'll show you my yarns first, okay? I am using an advent calendar. What way does it go? That way. I took all the wee doors off. I'm using this advent calendar from Vicky Brown Designs. I did change a couple of the colours. I think I've swapped the last two colours about because I just thought going from the kind of paler green to a darker green, then into white, and then I'll go back up to the purple at the top would have worked a wee bit better. And that colour there was actually up here. It was actually the third or the fourth colour. And I thought it would just work better down in here. And I think that's all. I just changed it about a wee bit just so it had a nice rainbow border to it. And there was nothing too jarring that stuck out at me. And the other yarn that I am using is this yarn here. It's off a cone, and it's the King Cole Anti-Tickle. It's a King Cole 4-ply, and it's Anti-Tickle Merino blend. And I bought that one on eBay. This colourway is pale grey, 3292. I am using a 4mm hook for this. I'm using my favourite, the Tulip Etimo hooks. I really like those. Just making sure it is a 4mm and I've got it right. So, and let me show you how my cardigan's looking. There we go. I am loving working on this. It looks really wide. It almost looks like a blanket, doesn't it? But that's the size it needs to be to wrap right round me. So there's it halved. So that's more like a garment size, isn't it? But remember, it's the back and the front all in one. I haven't touched this actually for about a week. I think I've just been knitting the past week. But this was getting a lot of attention in between when the baby arrived up until my Ayr County show, and then I've changed back to knitting. But loving working on it. It just crochets up so quickly. I think I'm going to actually I'm up to about day 18. I was trying to keep up with it and do a colour every day. And I think I got to about day 18 and then just started knitting. When I've worked on it, I've loved it. And I think I have to do every colour. I would get all 24 colours in with a grey in between. And then that's when I have to split off for the armholes. But I really like it. And see, the other thing is as well, so far I've only used about 5 grams each colourway. Now I've got 20 grams each mini skein, and I've only used about 5 grams so far, so I'm going to have plenty for a cardigan. Maybe have some left over as well. But I'm really, really enjoying working on that, and I just think those colours are just lovely. But this was an older advent calendar. I think this one was 2021, and it's the Vicky Brown designs. And one of the reasons I purchased this one was this yarn dyer lets you pay up over I think it was about 8 months. So it was a really, really low payment that you're paying, a monthly payment, which was great. Because some advent calendars are expensive, aren't they? But it felt a wee bit more affordable when you're splitting it up over a longer period of time. But love it, love it, love it, love it. And really enjoying working on it when I'm working on it. You just find yourself actually thinking, just one more row, let's just try the next colour. You know it's a good project when you can't put it down and you just want to try one more row. That's all the yarny related things that I've got to share with you today. So what I'm going to do now is move on to the patchwork and quilting section. And I've finally sewn something. It's the first thing that I've actually sewn, the first patchwork piece that I've made in 10 months. So I'm really, really pleased with this. I kept telling myself that I didn't have time to sew. I've not got time to do it, I'm too busy, and I'll pencil it in at some point. And remember last time I told you that I just penciled in my diary, I'd put sewing day. That didn't happen. That was the day the baby was born. Granddaughter arrived on that day and she put my sewing plans right out the window. But I did, the following week, I did get some sewing done. And it's from this quilt here. It's from the North Stars quilt by Elizabeth Hartman. And I had made 5 of these blocks. I showed that in the last episode. I showed you the 5 blocks that I had made already. And I was going to work on the otters. So here it is. Can you see it okay? If I stand up and stand back a wee bit. Isn't it lovely? Oh, I just love it. I'm so pleased with it. Now these blocks, they are quite big. They finish at 24-inch square. Sorry, I was trying to think what size they were. But they are a lot of work. Normally, I know when I did the 5 previous ones, I know it was a while ago, but I do remember that they took me about 6 hours to do a block. So I didn't manage to do it all in one day. This took me 3 days. I had to split it up over 3 days. I did all the cutting one day. There's a lot of cutting. The cutting normally takes a couple of hours. It was a block, sorry, I don't know if I said this already. It's a block of the month, and I bought it from Olive and Flo Handcraft a few years ago. Now I think this quilt came out in 2018 or 2019, so that's when I would have bought this block of the month. But they come, the first package you get a wee package. Let me show you. I've still got mine all wrapped up in tissue paper. So you get your wee package and you get all your fabric, your pre-cut fabric inside. So it's usually about 9 inches high, the fabric. So this is for the next one. This is for the muskox, which I'm going to try and get started pretty soon. But look at those wee flowers. That's lovely, isn't it? I love the ginghams as well. And we've got more feathers in that one. So you get this every month when you buy the block of the month kits. And you have to cut everything out that you need. The pattern tells you what you need for each block, and I will cut that all up into what I need for the next, when I'd come to the next block. So that takes a couple of hours to do that. And then you've normally got, like here, there's a wee block here. Sorry, I'm looking at it from the back and I'm wondering if I'm pointing to the right place at the front. In here there's a wee half square triangle. So after you finish all your cutting, there's normally a little bit of prep work where you make all your half square triangles, or like up here, this one here, that wee block in there, it's a flying geese. I was about to say, because it's a single block, I nearly said flying goose. It's a flying geese block. So you have to prep all those, get all your little corners on, things like that. And that can take you maybe another hour and a half or so. So I did that on the second day. And then I finally made the block. And I just love it. Oh, I love how it looks on the screen as well. Wait till I see it on the computer. So that's the otters. And I'm going to get that next one started as soon as possible because I'm keen to use up my leftovers. It took a lot of thinking. It took a lot of headspace. It just took a lot of concentration. And see, in all honesty, I don't think I have had the brain power to sew something as intricate as this. And I think I was kidding myself by saying that, oh, I don't have time to sew, I don't have time to sew. I think I just didn't have the brain power to do it. But once you get started, there was quite a few bits in this as well, like the wee eyes and things like that. It's 1-inch squares you're cutting, and there was also like little wee bits, tiny wee bits on his cheeks as well, and putting them together. And once I looked back at it, I thought, golly, I used to do this no bother. That was hard going. But when you think about it, it's 2 otters that's on this one. It's not just one animal. It's probably one of the more complicated blocks in the quilt. And that's what I'm trying to introduce myself back into patchwork with. But it's done now, and I love it. But one of the things that kept me going while I was trying to get it done, and I felt like it was hard going at points, but I had seen Karen from Stitches and Jacks making a quilt for her granddaughter's first birthday, and I really liked it. And I thought, oh, I want to try that. Now, the block that Karen was making was one of these. And this is a Disapperaing 9 Patch. Now, I've seen this block dozens of times before, and it's never appealed to me at all. And then, I don't know if it was Karen's fabric, because she had some that had unicorn fabric in it. And it was one of the Heather Ross Far Away, the really bright pink unicorn fabrics. And I thought, I love that block. Oh my goodness. And that was it. And that was all I could think about for days. I need to make some Disapperaing 9 Patch, and it's all Karen's fault. So, there we go. This is leftovers from one of the previous blocks. It was the owl. And I cut everything. Normally, if you're doing what you do with a 9 Patch, I'll show you. I kept one. I hadn't sewn it together. So what you do with a 9 Patch, you've got your 9 Patch. And there's lots and lots of tutorials out there online. And what you do is you get your 5-inch squares. I actually used 4.5-inch squares. And the reason I used 4.5-inch squares is because my fabric's 9 inches high. And I've got to go with the fabric that I've got. Okay? No, that's the wrong way round. Sorry, that way. So you get your squares, your 9 squares, and you sew them all together. Okay? And then what you do is you cut right down through the middle, and then you cut right across through the middle. And you start turning some of them around. So it's that one up there. You turn that 180 degrees. And this one down at the bottom corner, turn that 180. And then sew it all back together. Isn't it stunning? What a difference it makes. I just love it. And I don't know why all of a sudden this just appeals to me. I just saw Karen doing it and went, I need to make those. I really need to make those. So, and it's so simple, isn't it? I'll turn it back that way so you can see again how it starts. I actually cheated a wee bit. I had a wee bit of help from Photoshop. I know Karen experimented a wee bit to get our blocks looking right. And I took photos. I laid out my blocks like this. I didn't sew anything together. I just laid out blocks. And I took a wee photograph and then I put it onto the computer into Photoshop and tried swapping them about to make sure I had the combination that I liked. I didn't have lots of fabric to waste. Well, I thought I didn't have lots of fabric to waste, and I only had maybe would get one block from each set of leftovers. So I thought I would experiment a wee bit, and I found that if you use 5 different block colours, keep the 2 corners the same, the top, the bottom, the opposite corners, same as well the 2 ginghams, and then kept those 2 the same and kept the 2 blues the same, and then something different in the middle. I found that was the best way to do it. But as I say, I did have a wee bit of help. I laid it out in Photoshop. I laid it out, took a picture, and then spun these 2 blocks round in Photoshop just to make sure it was going the way I wanted. But I can get that one sewn up now. I find it really difficult to get to that stage where you've cut it through the middle and you've got 3 more lines to sew, but you're going to leave it. I find it difficult to leave that just so I could show it here. But it's lovely, isn't it? So let me show you how many of these I've made. I've got a big bundle of them, like. So I'll try and show you them one at a time, right? See, wonder if I can show you them all, get them, or will I just show you the gist of them? So I've got the green one, and another green one, and I think I've actually got 12 of them from six bundles of leftovers. And I've tried to keep them all the same, where the picture fabric is these corners here. So when I lay it out, there's a wee bit of continuity. Is that the word I'm looking for? That one's upside down, I think, yeah. Oh, that one's upside. Am I showing you all of these upside down? I probably am. Can't have polar bears upside down. And that one there. And the pink one. Now I've got six blue so far. 7 blue. And I've only got 1 pink. But I've still got some leftovers. It feels like it's never ending, and I've still got 3 blocks to make as well. So that's quite a lot of blocks to put together into a quilt, isn't it? Like some of these pieces here, I can't get a 4-inch block out of that one, but I could get something that was 4.5 by 2.25, and I could maybe start making blocks like that I can piece together later on. So I've not thrown out my leftovers, even though I've cut all the 4.5 inches that I can get. I've not thrown this out because I thought, well, I might be able to get half blocks, the 2.25 by 4.5, and piece together another like half size blocks or quarter size blocks, which I can then join together later on as well. So that has been the sewing that I've been doing recently. The past week, I've been obsessed with these. I've been lying in my bed at night thinking, what fabric can I use? What can I try a Disapperaing Nine Patch with? So thanks for that, Karen. It's nice when the brain starts working again and you're doing something you really enjoy, isn't it? So that is it. That is it crafty-wise. There is nothing else interesting happening here, apart from all the other things that I've told you about. I think my moods have slumped a wee bit recently. I don't know if I need to get my estrogen level upped, because normally that happens. And I know maybe you'll say that, okay, you've got a lot going on just now, maybe that's why your mood slumped a wee bit, but it's really, I've been quite low recently. And another sign is that I've got varicose veins in my legs, and I've got a touch of, what was it the doctor called it? Thrombophlebitis in the back of my knee. And see, when I started my HRT, it disappeared. I don't get any bother with my varicose veins, and, well, not as much bother, I shouldn't say no bother. They don't annoy me as much, they don't irritate me as much, and the patch at the back of my knee doesn't hurt at all. That disappeared when I started HRT. Round about September last year, my mood slumped, and my knee was hurting again. The back of my knee was really, really hurting. Upped my patches, and everything was fine. So I think, although I'm taking the testosterone just now, and it's improved my motivation, my energy levels, I'm sleeping a lot better as well. I think my estrogen's slumped a wee bit. So I need to speak to my doctor about that, and my leg's aching as well. It's giving me a lot of japs, swelling up as well. It's weird, isn't it? The things, just your hormones changing and what it affects in your body. But twice I've changed my estrogen levels, and twice my mood's improved, and I haven't felt quite as low, and the pain in my leg's gone. So I think I need to change that. But I'm going to wait until I've got an appointment at the beginning to the middle of June. So I'll wait and speak to the online appointment that I've got for the menopause clinic. I'll speak to them. I actually did have somebody asking me about that, how I got my testosterone. I've had a couple of messages, people asking me about it. And I think it's different depending on where you are in the world. And even in the UK, it's different depending on where you live. I'm in Ayrshire and Arran on the southwest coast of Scotland, and I think even neighbouring health boards are different within Scotland as well. So if it's something that you're interested in trying, if you're already on HRT and it's something that you want to try, you think adding testosterone in would help, the best way to do it is to go and speak to your GP and find out if you can get referred to a menopause clinic. I got referred to a menopause clinic, but I've not had my appointment yet. There is no pathway in Ayrshire and Arran for doing the blood tests required for when you're on testosterone. They need to test your blood every 3 months, just make sure your levels for testosterone is right, and they don't have that yet in Ayrshire and Arran. But it could be different if you're in another area in Scotland. Your health board may have that already sorted out, so it's worthwhile asking. The next option I had was a private, going privately, not doing it through the NHS, but getting a private appointment. And I looked at the menopause website. I looked for a British Menopause Society approved clinic, and there was 2 that come up in Scotland. There was one in Perth and there was one in Glasgow, but they were both quite expensive, and in all honesty I couldn't figure out how much I had to pay. And it was going to be somewhere between maybe like £600-700 for my appointment and to get my testosterone. It wasn't clear, and I tried emailing them, and even after emailing them and asking, it still wasn't clear. I suppose it's maybe different if you've got private health insurance, you could do it through that, but I don't have private health insurance, so I had to pay for it myself, and I really wanted to know how much it was going to cost me, because obviously that's a factor in whether or not you can afford your other hormone, isn't it? But then I contacted, it's the Dr. Louise Newson clinic, which is it's down in England somewhere, but you can get an online appointment. And the good thing about that is you can actually, if you've already got your other 2 hormones, your estrogen and your progesterone sorted out, they will do a testosterone only appointment. So it's worthwhile contacting them if you've got your other HRT sorted and you feel okay, but you want to try testosterone and you can't get it through the NHS, you've tried. Try contacting the Dr. Louise Newson clinic, and I'll put a wee link below, but she has it on her website, and there's very clear prices, and including my prescription. Now my prescription for testosterone cost me £100, but including the prescription, I think I was about £300. So if it's something that you're interested in, go maybe try it through that route, because it's a wee bit cheaper when you can get a testosterone only. So get your other 2 hormones sorted out with your GP, and then book a testosterone only appointment. I found that was the cheapest way to do it. And I know that sounds crude and it's your health and you shouldn't be looking for that option, but it's a lot of money, and if you don't have private health insurance, you've got to try and cut corners a wee bit, haven't you, especially right now with the cost of living crisis. Anyway, maybe I should have put a wee warning at the beginning of this bit that you can skip if you're not interested in this. But the only other thing worth telling you about is I think I might have a peach poppy growing in my garden. There's probably a few of you that watch Rachel from Sorry Me. She lives over in Fife in the east coast of Scotland, and she posted on her Instagram, now this was 2 years ago, she posted on Instagram that she had seen peach poppies in Morrison's. Now Morrison's is a supermarket chain here in the UK, and I thought, oh, if they've got them over in the east coast, maybe they've got them in the west coast. And I jumped in the car right away and drove to my nearest Morrison's, And yep, they had peach poppies, and I bought 2 of them. And I brought them home and I planted them in their own wee pots, 2 wee pots, and I've never had anything. They actually look like dandelion weeds. They've not really come to much. They've just sat there in their wee pots, not doing anything. And all of a sudden, this year, one of them has just shot up. And I've got this big flower head on the top. The other one's just sitting looking puny and pathetic in the pot next to it. But one of them is grown. And I just really hope when it pops open that it is a peach poppy. Because they're lovely, aren't they? But I'll keep you updated in that one. But knowing my luck, it'll pop open and it'll just be red or something, or it'll be white, or it'll not be peach, but here's hoping it's a peach one. The only other one I would really, really love is a blue one. And I've tried growing those, but they've never came to anything. Maybe I'm not patient enough. Maybe I need to try leaving it in a pot for 2 years. See, I don't know if other gardeners would just throw them out and just think, nah, they're not coming to anything. Just put them in the compost heap. I'd love to say it was that I'm patient, but it's nothing to do with patience. I'm just rubbish at gardening. I'm like, maybe if I leave it long enough, they'll finally grow. That happened with my peonies as well. I bought 2 peonies. It was like bare root. It's not a bulb, isn't it? No, it's just a bare root thing. And I bought them in a supermarket, put them in a pot, and it took 2 years for me to get peonies. So I got my first peonies last year, and maybe I'll get a peach poppy this year. But I will keep you updated in that one. I just really hope it's a peach poppy now after me telling you. Anyway, that's all I've got to share with you today. So I'll get going and let you go on with your day. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.